What is up, comic fam? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday night. That means this is at week's end, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. But before we get into any of that or bring in our co-host and our special guest, check this out. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and bring in the guests. We got our co-host, as always, Ryan. What is going on? AKA new guy, fuzzy face in the orange circle, all of those things. There it is. So Chris cannot be here tonight. He has got some other stuff going on, but we did get his clone, a spitting image of him, just with better facial hair. We got none other than Rob's Fat Sacks is up in the building. I can't even tell them apart.
We're really he's just the Canadian copy of me.
Yeah, that's it. And my current partner in crime for the baddest giveaway this side of the Mississippi, none other than DJ Links himself.
What's going on, guys?
Burt Wonderstone going on there.
What's going on, dudes? How you guys doing?
Not too much. Real quick, we're at the front of the show here where most people catch it. And you're here. Do you want to go ahead and mention the giveaway that we are co-sponsoring, this epic giveaway for our channel members?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. So Mark and I teamed up for this epic channel members giveaway where the winner will receive an Ultimate Fallout 4 first appearance of Miles Morales, CGC graded at 9.4. And the way that you enter that, you have to be a channel member of either of our channels or both. So channel members that are in both, the Link Squad and the Legion, get 5 entries. Channel members in just the Link Squad get 2 entries. Channel members in just the Legion get 2 entries. Drawing will take place the first week of August. And you have to be a member of either or for 2 consecutive months. And those months are June and July. So that's the caveat. You have to be a member for June and July, and then we're going to do that drawing, and somebody's going to walk away with an Ultimate Fallout 4.
Boom. Yeah, so I definitely thank you so much for us doing this. I think it's a big deal. I'm excited to do it. Normally I'd be excited to get a book. I'm actually excited to give this one away.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm like, who gives away an Ultimate Fallout 4? Like, what's wrong with us? Like
people who have Ultimate Fallout 4s, that's who.
Yeah, people who have too many.
Boom. Boom. Fist bump. Boom.
So there's that. I'm going to throw that out there. Of course, I do want to say thank you to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the monthly Legion Loot giveaway, which we'll be drawing for tonight. So we will get the winner for the May. Is that right? The May Legion Loot winner. So we'll do that probably about halfway through the show. And also a big shout out to Justin over on Instagram. If you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit him up. Use that promo code We Are Legion to take advantage of the special offers he's got running right now and all that good stuff. So let's get to it. So we always kick off the show talking about news, announcements, whatever. If there's anything worthy of conversation, but we'll get to that because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. We're going to kick off tonight talking Obi Wan. Mr. Rob asked me about it. I was behind on it last night. I'm caught up tonight. And DJ actually watched it too. So being that DJ went in with the strongest presuppositions, I would like him to go first.
Well, thank you, sir. So I went in. Let me just recap my thoughts from In the Mix on last Friday. So I went in with very low expectations. And, you know, Rob and I kind of battled it out, if you will. I was just like, I'm not really excited. I wasn't excited to get into it. So last night I was just like, hey, you want to watch Obi Wan to the missus? And we put it on about 1 o'clock in the morning and we watched all 3 episodes. So I enjoyed it. It was flawed, but I enjoyed it. And then that's all I'll say about that. Mainly Darth Vader. Oh, Darth Vader. But I enjoyed it. So.
I about lost my marbles in that 3rd episode with Vader. Yeah, it was
all over the screen. Sorry for all the children watching.
Rob being the for this panel, the resident Star Wars guru for our panel tonight. go ahead and give us your thoughts on it so far.
So I've enjoyed it from the get go. I mean, yeah, I know what people were talking about with some of the pacing and stuff on the early episodes, and that didn't bother me at all because we're telling a story, and stories start off slow, build up, and they get to a point where they build to a crescendo, and then they take it
Gotta
back
establish.
up. It's how things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But this last episode, the third episode, if you didn't just walk, if you're not a fan, if you're a fan and you didn't walk out there thinking, wow, okay, I'm finally getting to start to see people freaking scared of Vader walking, just pulling people out of their houses, force dragging people down the street, just freaking, and then you got the whole Michael Myers vibe where Obi-Wan's running away from him, and here's this lumbering beast that's not running, but every time you turn around, I'm here and I'm ready to freaking take you out, right? I mean, what's not to love?
So on the pacing, this is a 6-part event. I would argue this is all right. I'm heavily critical of Disney properties. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Heavily critical. I watch them with a fine-tooth comb that I don't do with other stuff. Like we were just talking about Moonfall before this, which I love. So there's a little context, but the pacing is flawless in this show. We're at the halfway point, and they gave us an intro episode.
Yes.
The second episode that kicked into the action gear with the Darth Vader teaser.
Yes.
And then this one, they drug out Darth Vader, like he pointed out, in straight beast mode and let him just thrash around our protagonist that barely gets away. Now, like you said, it is flawed. It's extremely flawed, but the fan service balances it. Like 1 second you have Darth Vader reach out and pull Obi-Wan into the fire. The next second he's staring at Obi-Wan in the same spot he started at as he gets away without just, no, you're not leaving.
Well, apparently the Force doesn't work on droids, apparently, because the droid's there picking up Obi-Wan, and I can't stop the droid at all.
But luckily he didn't try.
I'm armored and half robot, and I can't just walk into the fire.
I think that's something that, in all sincerity, I could forgive that and just play it off to that. That was his intention. Like he said,
we got the infamous head.
Yeah.
The lift the head slightly and turn and walk away.
And you also had the dialogue with him telling Obi-Wan that this is like he's giving him the 300 speech. Like this isn't going to be quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you suffer. All this other stuff.
Yeah. So I love the fact that we didn't get any of the what are they called? The Grand.
Oh, the Grand Inquisitors.
We had them for a little brief minute, but they was focused on Vader.
They stood back. They said, "Hey, go let him. Boss man's doing his shit."
He said, "Hey," he said, "Don't engage." And dude, that scene when he first shows up, he's walking down the street, and there's people not interrupting, not getting in his way, and he's locked onto Obi-Wan at this point. He's just toying with him. And that was fantastic because
it's like when Mongo rides into town and all the Johnsons run and hide, but here comes Mongo.
Who's Mongo?
But
anyway, to your point,
you don't know the reference, DJ Blazing Saddles.
That's old. Yeah.
Oh, Blake, I apologize. I apologize for the complete fandom.
Darth Vader. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll just ramble. I'm hyped.
No, I was going to say, to your point about pacing, I think this is the best paced show, whether Star Wars or Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like, we're always talking about, there's only 2 episodes left. Like, when's it going to kick into gear? Like, this one is already, like there. And from episode 2. And I was super hype about that. The only, because it's easy to pick on flaws. So I just want to put that out there. I enjoyed the show, but it's easy to point out some flaws. When they in episode 1, when the bad guys flee or whatever, were chasing Leia, in my mind the Benny Hill music was just going on. It's like as she's running super slow and they're jogging, tripping over shit. Like, come on, you can't get this little girl.
Yeah, there's fun, some of that's fun stuff, and there's always things that you can sit there and nitpick apart because of they're doing retcon stuff in here. So there's always going to be things that then don't align because you're a retcon with dialogue and stuff. But considering that we're coming into this, right? I mean, let's be honest. I was hitting the joke hard on we're going to get a show about an old man who living in the desert, watching a teenage boy grow up on a farm until the day that they can run off together. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
that's what I'm expecting. I was expecting stuff like on
I want to see that
Tatooine.
show.
And I didn't want to see that show, but thank God instead we got something else. We take him off away from Luke for a moment and get Leia in here and start to tease us with these ideas that she can read people and that she's got some sort of subtle force intuition that's helping us to now to tie into the rest of stuff, because we have to retcon the fact that up until Return of the Jedi, there was no concept that she was going to be a Skywalker in all this stuff. So I think that that's good overall. I'm happy with it. It's a solid 4 stars out of 5 for me right now. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. The only thing, it's funny because we were discussing, my wife and I was just like, this is The Mandalorian, the remix. Same concept. Instead of Mandalorian and Grogu, it's Obi Wan and Leia.
So I think with C-List is kind of talking to you, and I've mentioned this before. It's like up until Rogue One, and this is now the second time we're getting to see Darth Vader be what we, outside of comic books, be what we've been led to believe he is. Until then, what we've seen Darth Vader kill younglings, an old man who surrendered, and beat up on his own kid who had no force training, right? I mean, and then eventually lose to him when he was half trained. So this is what Darth Vader's not all that tight. Oh, wait a second. No, he did force choke that one Moff, and he picked up a unarmed rebel officer aboard a ship and choked him physically. He wasn't super scary.
Now he is.
Rogue One did a great job, but this episode here helped to add to that the mystique, and that seeing that people fear
shit themselves.
Vader.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, sir. Like, and this was needed. Like, outside of, like you said, comic book continuity or novels or whatever the case, we've never seen a badass Vader, except for that game, like on the Wii, where you played with him for like one board, then you were Vader killing people. But this was amazing, badass Vader. Badass.
I thought they did a good job with like the transition period of Vader, because we're going from like angry, angsty Anakin, and then when we see Vader in the original trilogies, like he's older, like you can chalk up like the lightsaber duels not being so dynamic to, like he said, Luke is half trained and he's older. You know what I mean? They're not like
we have
like the prequels, but now we have Vader who's not just walking to get to where he's going. He's walking and he's taking out his anger on everything around him, like literally walking with bodies dragging behind him. Just because.
Yeah, in our timeline of Vader here, we're at the peak of where Vader's at his peak of anger. He's been tortured. He's been having to deal with the pain, his prosthetics, and everything he's got give him maximum pain and stuff. 10 years he's been suffering and just focused on Obi-Wan, right? It's not until really we get to just past A New Hope where when he becomes fixated, especially in the comics as you read it, with this concept of finding this boy who blew up the Death Star, then finding out that it's his son and that the Emperor has hid it from him, and then starting to kind of plot his overthrow of the Emperor in his mind, eventually trying to get his son to join him so that they can take over together. So this is where we can have this absolute most badass version of Vader.
Yeah, I loved him. Loved.
Yeah, that scene when you're getting to see all of his prosthetics put on for the first time on cinema in this episode, like the level of damage that was done to his body, like he doesn't have a human arm left. They've taken it all, and we saw him like coming together as Vader in episode 3, but not to this like little detailed degree. It was more just to get him in the suit in episode 3, and you're seeing it just piece him on and everything. You're just like, oh man.
Yeah, he was already missing an arm before, and then you had this other stuff, and he spends that time in Mustafar in that freaking Bacta tank without those things attached, just to try to freaking get by.
I won't get this. You might, Rob, but it says, so I finished all of this year's Star Wars books. Them and the comic books make a big deal about Sabe,
yeah, Padme's handmaiden,
living on Tatooine. I bet Keira Knightley shows up.
I don't remember anything about her necessarily living on Tatooine, but I mean, there's a lot of whole thing that's been going on with her. Is essentially, um, Vader's trying to investigate what happened. He's trying to find out about Luke and all this other stuff. He's trying to find out about what happened with, Padme and all these other things after he left, and he ends up getting confronted by Sabe, however whatever her name is, I can't remember, but yeah, Keira Knightley's character, the handmaiden, that they're like got this whole group of Naboo people who are like, I want to beat up Lord Vader because you killed our queen, and because they don't know that Anakin is Vader, and all this other stuff, and so there's a whole thing that's been going on with that, and then ties into Crimson Reign and all this other fun stuff that they're doing. I don't remember much about Tatooine being involved in it, but
Brian, have you seen any of the episodes yet, or plan on checking them out?
I haven't seen any of them. Might binge it once it's all done, depending on how the fan base comes down on it.
Yeah,
I mean, here's maybe you guys could give me a good idea of like what if I should even watch it, because I'll tell you, like, Rogue One is easily my favorite Star Wars movie.
Same.
Probably my favorite Star Wars anything, to be honest. But what I love the most about Rogue One is it showed regular people in Star Wars. Like, I'm really not into like Bloodlines and the Chosen One, and when you put that in Star Wars and everything's always about this Skywalker family and all that, like, it gets really old really fast to me. And so that's what I loved about Rogue One, was showing regular people doing like extraordinary things. And so, like, are we seeing any of that in the more like modern stuff since that?
Well,
that's what I like.
Right. Obviously, Mandalorian has been that you're off on your own world, away from that stuff, right? Boba Fett, same thing, but it was crap. Right. Well, I mean, I guess we do get a little bit of Luke.
There's
in
two
there,
good episodes in it though, Mandalorian. So watch those.
Yeah, I mean, Luke is in there. In this one here, you've got stuff that's obviously it's directly tied to the lineage, right? You got Luke and Leia in there. You've got Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker, and you've got Obi Wan, who's Obi Wan's around in here too, right? But what's a little bit different? I mean, obviously, there's a lot more stuff of people. He's trying not to use the Force. He's got to be hidden during this time, right? Because people are hunting. So he's essentially cut himself off from the Force, not only to try to stay alive, but also because he's personally devastated from the Jedi's defeat and the loss of his brother, who he perceived as his brother in Anakin. He thinks that Anakin is dead at this point. When we start off, so he's using a blaster. He's not carrying his lightsabers around. They're buried off in the desert. He's not reading any people, and it's not until he gets sucked back into this and he has to go get stuff. Even then he's still not really using the Force until he's forced to when Leia's falling off a building, and he's got to catch her, and he struggles to reconnect in order to do so.
Good thing Andrew Garfield caught her.
Exactly. He came in at the last minute. It was really great. The crossover you didn't know we needed. So yeah, I mean it's kind of a little bit interesting because it's changed the dynamics. It's still not Force heavy here. Even in this third episode where you have confrontation between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, there's no epic saber battle fights. I mean, it's basically Ben backpedaling and trying to just stay alive because he doesn't have that connection at this point that he had. And I think that's where we're going to, is we've got to build back up this reconnection to the Force. He's struggling to connect to his old master, Qui-Gon Jinn. And obviously, at some point, I expect that he'll make that connection. Mm-hmm. He's going to come out of this whole thing, probably one more battle with Vader at some point in here, but he's going to come out of this focused on now knowing that Anakin is completely lost. And the only hope for anything is going to be for these kids, especially Luke in his mind, and so he's going to refocus his effort into, by the time we get to A New Hope, he's the man that we know there, who's no longer this scared guy that we're seeing here in this series.
Do we expect? Sorry to jump ahead. I don't know if we even wanted to talk about this. So, what's her name? The third sister?
How's that jumping
Third
ahead?
sister, the completely new character.
Yeah. So we expect her to kind of like turn face right by the end and helping Obi-Wan.
I don't know, to be
real
honest.
Quick, I was talking to Pops about the third sister, and he and just like how Becker said here about another one of his comments, he watches things naturally with a detailed comb too, because he's a retired police officer. As soon as the second episode was over, he said, "I think that third sister is the girl from the opening scene of episode 1 that was the youngling in the temple." Because there's a girl that's slightly older than the other ones that was in the Jedi Temple during Order 66. He thinks that that's her, and she has a hard-on for Obi-Wan because it was Obi-Wan's Padawan that killed everyone.
Well, it could be because the way that she pauses at the Jedi writings that are scrawled on the wall in the chamber during the third episode, and we know that the Inquisitors are either Force sensitives or former Jedi / Padawans that were can turn to the dark side.
My mind is blown.
So it's completely possible, and it might be part of why she's treated differently by the other Inquisitors and why they give her so much grief. But I don't know that she'll come back to the light or not. Who knows? We'll see.
I don't know. My hat is holding in my mind because it is blown. Like, that didn't even occur to me. Thank you, Mr. Pops Attic. I'm so down with that theory.
Season 2 is my guess. That was Nick's guess, not my guess. I was just reading it. Yeah, we saw Freddie Prinze Jr. was doing graffiti on the wall. What?
What?
So yeah, that's been the only character that I didn't care for was Reva's character. Is that what her name is? Reva?
Nick saying it won't make her to season 2. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to make it to season 2 because there won't be a season 2.
Yeah, this is a one and done, right?
Yeah, it's issue event. So I have nothing against her character. I just didn't like that they bill out the Grand Inquisitor as like this tough dude, and he's like doing all this cool stuff. I want to see these people do stuff before you off them. I have nothing against you killing them, but why are you going to let her kill this guy who's got this cool Star Wars look, and he's showing off his little spinny saber? And
so the Inquisitors themselves, as they were introduced in Rebels and been fleshed out some in the Darth Vader comic books, they're not.
That's exactly how we introed Rob tonight.
Yeah,
he wasn't even here for that.
So they're not exactly the most powerful Force users. They have limited Force capabilities, and that's one of the reasons their sabers are the way they are, is to try to compensate for their lack of skills and abilities compared to full Jedi or Sith, because they're not Sith. They're just dark.
They're just trained
dark Force users that are being used to help Vader hunt down these Jedi, and they're intentionally not being trained significantly because they don't want to have to deal with them.
Rule of 2.
Rule
of 2.
So to that comment that you just had up about about her not killing Camille, and like I found that so weird that she just didn't like strike him down right then and there when she was like so mean to everybody else, and she's like, get out my way, and trying to go around them, whatever. I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the things when he popped up. I was like,
the comedy Achilles heel from Eternals is actually delightful in this. He plays the exact same character.
As soon as I saw him, I was like groaning all lowercase words. I mean, uppercase words, letters, whatever. I was just like, oh God, man.
Same exact character. I like at that point.
I like his comedy, but his acting chops are not that strong.
Well, you will be completely disappointed with his portrayal in Obi Wan. It's me, Camille. I'm doing funny stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah. Must be space Jewish.
Junior played Kanan and
Kanan.
Rebels, and you can see his signature on the wall. Someone said Cal Kestis,
Kestis.
the redheaded kid from the video game, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, there was a lot of Easter eggs on the wall in their little chamber. Does the Empire not have social security numbers? How does Luke not show up in the system named Skywalker to go to public school? That's a good question. Except that he's in the Outer Rim, which is outside of the realm of the Empire. There's not a lot of checks or anything else, and he's probably not. I don't know. He does go by Skywalker throughout the whole thing. It is kind of the. It's not like he's going by.
Like, can I speak to your principal?
Yeah, well, Vader really hated the sand, so last thing he was going to do was go check his house to see if by any chance his kid was hanging out at home. But
that would be hilarious. Like he lands right on the thing and is like, I think he's.
Yeah, there were some really cool camera shots in this as well. Like when Obi-Wan was running to try to get out of the city, when Vader was there and he bends the corner and it happens fast, so you don't really notice like that you got a piece of Vader on screen in the dark until his lightsaber comes out, and Obi-Wan's just kind of like he's got like the Predator lock on him with the triangle fixed on him. He just freezes like. And that was a great way
I just don't like the way that Beckham is just completely
introduce.
killing this entire movie franchise in one quick moment with this whole concept of what the government doesn't check the papers and there's not a flag. It's not some kind of governmental flag when they scan and come across Skywalker. Like, oh, damn, look at that. Let's go kill him now. He's 2 years old. And
now this is actually something that heavily bothered me is the stormtroopers' voices. Because again, like I've mentioned this to Rob, I'm a huge fan of Episode 2. I love the fact that we learned that all the stormtroopers are clones of Boba Fett. That's who the stormtroopers are. They're the clone army, just in different outfits. When did they get rid of all the clones?
So the clone army is dispersed and phased out following the end of the Clone Wars and began to be replaced by conscripts. So although the conscripts are not as good at fighting as the clones are, they have they want to get rid of the cost as well as the having to rely on the chips that were basically embedded in the clone troopers' heads in order to keep them loyal to themselves and stuff. And then after some of them eventually break away. So it was this whole thing of going back to conscript soldiers.
That's how they got Finn.
Right. And so this is who we end up with.
Well,
both
that's something
in Rebels.
that they didn't introduce till the sequels. Like again, this is like beyond the movie.
So this is actually introduced. Some of this has been within the canon that's been here. It's like Rebels, for example.
See, this is all Disney's doing. They didn't phase out the clone troopers were the stormtroopers until
it's always been that the clone troopers. The stormtroopers have never been clones. That was always the difference between the stormtroopers and the clone troopers.
They never pointed that out or made that
blue thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have all kinds of different colors, but they never pointed that out or said that and made it a point till, like you said, till Finn, when they were talking about how they were pretty much kidnapping people and making them be stormtroopers.
That's the First Order way of it versus back into the EU books and stuff of the very earliest of this stuff. Once you start getting outside of the movies, it's always been that stormtroopers were volunteers and stuff, and people joined the academy and they either go into the army or the navy and stuff, and they would serve the empire. And each planets were expected to provide a certain amount of people to assist and help out in what they do and everything else. And they would go through, but the First Order took that to the next degree, along with the indoctrination and some of the other stuff that they were doing.
It's almost like there was like a whole fleshed out universe that Disney was just like, forget it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. Right. Which has been part of the problem. But so yeah, that's why it's actually interesting is what the tip was in the episode 2, where you see the clone trooper who's sitting there begging for money. It's because one of the things that we know about is that some of the clones end up getting killed. Some of them die. Some of them continue. Some of them do serve as stormtroopers for a while, and then some. But then some of them just couldn't. Try to do.
What
other
was
things.
Rex's ultimate fate? What happened to Rex long term?
you should go watch Rebels. Some people say that he was at Battle of Endor.
Rex the dinosaur from Toy Story.
No, so there's
3 baddest clones.
There has been
wasn't fully altered.
In the Disney retcon, in the fandom retcon, there has been a lot of effort to do. If you go back and watch Return of the Jedi, there's an older bearded gentleman who rebel soldier there at the bunker at the Battle of Endor, and many people have attributed that his appearance and look is very similar to that of the older looking Rex we get in Rebels. And so people have begun to suggest that perhaps Rex survives throughout all of this and makes it to the Battle of Endor.
So there was a few clones that were standout from the clone saga. Like even Commander Cody was reoccurring in episodes 2 and 3. He was like the one that Obi Wan was assigned to when he was like after Grievous and stuff. But Cody and Rex are like your main 2 clones that were out there, and they're not. They have more ability than a standard trooper.
This is all fleshed out in Rebels. If you haven't seen the Rebels cartoon, you really should, because
I tried watching Bad Batch, but it was trash.
No. So in the Rebels clone,
Rebels is good. I've seen like the first.
The Rebels series is very important. Is probably the most important animation piece to where Disney has been going with Star Wars right now, because it not only begins to take the concept of individual planets having rebel cells and trying to have Bail Organa and some of these other folks bring these different elements together to not worry about yourself, but to start to look at the how we fight the Empire as a whole, right? But yes, but then it also introduces. They bring back some of the clone troopers, and they go more into their story and what goes on with them, and what's been going on with them, and then how they also are pivotal in helping them to go find out some of these old Republic bases and have access to some of these bases and such. And there's a lot of talk about some of the new stormtroopers compared to the old clones, and a lot of the stuff you're asking about is actually all fleshed out in here.
I'll check it out, but I don't have time. Maybe one day.
It's actually really good.
Like Dameron's got you.
Yeah. Like I tried watching it because I was debating whether clones or Rebels. So then I started watching Rebels, and I got about like 8-9 episodes in. It was fantastic. I don't know why I stopped.
Yeah, Clone Wars, the Clone Wars cartoon is a great, fun series. The problem with it is there's so much content in there, and so little of it actually applies outside. There's like 2 minutes, like in every episode, that string together to be what you need. And so, if somebody was going to do it, I would say, hey, jump in at about like season 5 and forget the first, the previous seasons. But other than that, you can probably get by without it.
These Grand Inquisitors come from Rebels too, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And he's
so
awesome.
Timeline-wise, doesn't that mean that dude's alive from episode 2? The Grand Inquisitor's alive? Doesn't Obi-Wan like go in between seasons of Rebels?
This would be before. I
stopped watching before Obi-Wan showed up.
I'm not sure exactly where this is versus Rebels. Actually, it could be pretty close to it.
I'm wondering if it's back or not.
But I mean, there's other things that they're going to introduce in Rebels. They introduce some of the stuff of where Ahsoka's been, and when they bring her back into stuff. And actually, the whole Ahsoka series, in theory, is supposed to take place basically it's going to start at the very ending of the Rebels TV show. They've actually reshot the very end sequence that was animated in live action. To be able to take it and go from there, because that's where the story is supposed to take off.
So is Rebels played out all the way at this point? There's no more new Rebels?
Yeah, there's no more Rebels. Rebels, that series is done. And now Ahsoka is going to basically take over from right there.
How long was it?
I don't know, 5 seasons or something?
Jesus Christ. It's a lot of time.
You watched like 4 hours of Snyderness, so.
But it's good, man. It's good.
Rebels is like animated, so it's probably 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, about 20 minutes.
Nothing.
Yeah, but it's super violent. Like,
yeah, you don't have to convince me that it's worth watching. You just have to figure out where in my schedule I could find time.
You don't have to watch Power Rangers anymore.
You just need to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League one or two less times.
Okay, now that makes sense. That's language I can understand.
Sacrifice 2 watchings a month. And you're good.
If he does, it creates a plot hole. However, if he repeatedly says that there are things worse than death in Rebels, so it's possible that he is being kept alive whenever he dies.
What?
I guess he's talking about the Grand Inquisitor. That must be a line that he says, or things worse than death.
Yeah, I
If
thought it
you
was
have
kind of lame.
Obi
that-
and the
that-
library card, you can check out your library's collections of Star Wars audiobooks tonight.
Nice. I thought it was kind of lame the way Grand Inquisitor bit the dust.
He might be. He might be.
I thought it was pretty weak that they boarded a robot-controlled shuttle, a freight shuttle, that would have a pre-programmed destination, but they had to send out seeker droids all across the galaxy to find out where they might have gone. Seemed to me like they could have had a whole platoon just waiting for that ship to show up and dock at its next point of destination, and the show would have been over. But
Well, they had the jump drive with the coordinates they put into it. So I guess, like, I always chalk that stuff up into how big the Star Wars universe is. The countless planets, this and that. Like,
Yeah.
even now, like, you can't take a DVD out of your house, Rob, and go watch it over at Whack Comics. You know, you have to go buy a DVD over there to put into their players. Like, their DVDs aren't even cross-compatible. They're not. There's regional.
region codes. I was gonna say, wait a second. We got rid of NTSC and PAL systems.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
But
if,
I was
region
going to say
code.
we got rid of DVDs.
if something
Yeah, that's
is
true.
if
I just
something
go
is-
I just go and turn. I just bring my Chrome stick and plug it in his USB
Yeah.
port, and
Now you just need a
there you go.
VPN. And
But see, like you're talking about going around stuff. Like I'm assuming there's stuff like that that's the same way in this. You're talking about traveling light speed across the galaxy to other places that, like, those codes are unique to their ship and the place that they're going.
If you were piloting it, but it was a robotic transport with no personnel aboard that was pre-programmed on a trade route.
Yeah.
That was the whole point
speaking
of that was the whole point of why he was going to that transport to get away, was because they weren't expecting people because it was completely automated.
No, I was going to say, speaking of going around things, so when in, I think it was the beginning of episode 3, or it might have been 2, when they're in the whatever that desert thing and the laser gate, and then once they beat up,
And he can't just walk around it.
Yeah.
I was just like, why is he even doing
the
it?
code?
Just literally walk around it, dude. Because I thought he was trying to get the truck through or whatever, the transport vehicle, but he didn't. He just wanted to walk. It was just like, yo, my guy, just walk around.
As soon as they fought with it, then you had to shoot it. They did the overhead shot where you realize it's just a desert with 2 posts in the middle of it.
Hey, just to go back to Blazing Saddles, it's like the turnstile. And
Yeah.
somebody go back and get a bunch of nickels.
Will Robinson. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Did anybody other than me at this point watch the first episode of The Boys?
I rewatched that scene
I bet.
to show the missus, and it was a big mistake watching that on my 90-inch television.
Ooh, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. She was
on
let
you.
down by you after that, huh?
I was just, I was like, what the hell?
For those that don't know, the Boys is back. They dropped the first 3 episodes on Amazon. They released the night early. They were available Thursday night, and I watched the first episode, like half the second episode. But they're trying to win the award for most shocking moment in television history with this season, and they're playing with all kinds of little memes and jokes and rumors about all kinds of stuff in the the Comic Fandom. You know, they make fun of Disney Plus in the first episode. They make fun of the Snyder Cut hashtag, and they make fun of the rumor that John just mentioned about Ant-Man going up Thanos' rear, but they take it up an ante, and they have their Ant-Man character Termite, while they're sitting there doing blow, hanging out at a party, crawl into his boyfriend's pee hole to tickle him and pleasure him, and the dude accidentally sneezes while he's in there, and he goes full size and kills his boyfriend, and in all the gory fashion you can imagine.
Wow.
Yeah. I would have preferred that, Alan.
numerous ways. You can word
Yeah,
that like that, and it applies in numerous ways.
Yeah, like we watched it, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" It has to be one of the most like shocking, out there scenes ever in a TV show.
Easily.
Yeah, like I thought the Shield when Aceveda got forced to, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Shield, but with Vic Mackey. But yeah, yeah. But it's funny, but I'm not a big The Boys fan. So I saw season 1. I was in no rush to see season 2. I watched the first episode of season 2 and I got like halfway through and I shut it off. It's like one of those things. Like we watched season 1 because there was nothing else on at the time, but I'm not going to run out and go watch The Boys.
Yeah, I watched season 1 because everybody was talking about it. And I was like, oh,
I'll be right back. I'm going to get Finn some snacks. I'm sorry.
All right.
Can you get me some? Oh. I'm an animal cracker. Thank you. No. Yeah, same, Rob. I was like in no rush. Everyone was talking about it, so I was just like, "Oh, let me watch it."
Yeah.
And
Like,
I was
super
like,
people, fucking people. All right, hooray! Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that super rape! Yay! Hooray! That's just what I wanted to see.
Super rape. So, Alan Rue asks, "Have you guys ever read Cross by Garth Ennis?" Absolutely, sir. That is one of my favorite stories. Super messed up. You guys ever read it?
No.
Super messed up. Where it's
What's
just like they get this disease. So I think it's a disease if I remember. So instead of them becoming zombies, they become like flesh-eating, crazy, just want to like rape like cannibals. It is the worst. And once you know you're sick, you get like a cross on your face. So it's like a big scar on your face. That's just like a cross. And that's what got me back into comic books. I was drunk one day and stumbled into the comic book store, and I was just like, let me grab this. And I grabbed the first 3 graphic novels drunk. And yeah. So
damn, you were all in.
Dude. And I felt so ashamed too. Like I was paying with my head down. And the guy was just like, really this?
Feels like The Boys is less focused on story and more focused on shock value. Kind of disappointing so far.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've read The Boys. I read like the first couple issues as a trade mag. My comic book shop before the show was even like on the spec radar had recommended it to me as something to read, and it was okay. And then I saw some of them. Oh yeah.
Doesn't Homelander die like right off the bat in the comics? He's not like a long-standing character.
I didn't get that far, so I don't know.
That's what I've always heard, is that he wasn't around for nearly as long as he's been in the show.
And I like Garth Ennis, but I think I don't know. Like I'm in no rush to try to read the comic, because if it's based on the show and I'm like the show's like okay, even though I'm a Garth Ennis fan, I'm just like
I don't know.
Apparently, he only makes it 5 issues.
Like in issue 5, he's out.
Oh wow! Spoiler alert, Alan Rue, Comics and Collectibles.
Another spoiler is he has uploaded his 100 subscriber entry giveaway.
Ooh.
And weren't you just complaining about something, DJ? No.
Batman Reptilian wasn't that great. It started strong, got really weird, really weird, but Liam Sharp's artwork carried it since it didn't drag out as a long series. At the end, that was pretty much all I was reading it for.
Yeah, I was pretty on the fence up to that first issue and ultimately decided not to continue.
Marjorie, what was it called? Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal, was really good.
I hadn't heard of that one even.
Yeah, that was Ennis last year from AWA Upshot, I believe it was on.
I've decided pretty much even though I'm big Batman, I won't read any of these various trillion different limited series that they're churning out. I won't. I refuse.
Night stuff though.
I just refuse to reward them with that. I'm just like, I'm gonna stick with the main titles, and I'm sorry.
I'm actually the opposite. I refuse to reward their main title because it's just all over the place.
Rob, you mean you didn't read Justice League Dinosaurs or whatever it was called?
No.
Jurassic League. That was good, man. That was fun.
Well, I haven't read Vampire Hunters or whatever the hell they are, or
the vampires thing,
or I wish I was metal.
That's weird, Comic Vet. You were really into the vampires thing the last couple weeks, and
I know,
that's a hard turn there.
But you know what happened was I was talking with my U.S. counterpart Rob, and he really convinced me that DC versus vampires is a load of garbage, and that I shouldn't have anything to do with it. And so,
in all seriousness, Rob, you didn't get because this has started well before. Like this started years ago with Sean Gordon Murphy's first White Knight series. Did
never
you?
read any of it.
Oh, dude, treat yourself, my man.
Don't need
treat
to.
yourself. You do.
Do I?
need to treat myself.
Yeah, I thought the annual was all right. It added much needed context and stuff to Ghostmaker.
What's that?
And,
The Ghostmaker one.
Yeah, where we kind of Clown Hunter focus and everything, and kind of our we haven't seen him. He's been underused, but he's kind of becoming like a repetitive Jason Todd kind of thing. Like we're seeing like the Jason Todd trope a lot. Like with Red X, that was pretty much Jason Todd, and now this is pretty much Jason Todd. But if they have an opportunity to do something different with him, and that is one that came out this past week. So boom, just reviewed a comment.
I don't like things being different. I like things being repetitive. So I want all my villains to be Jason Todd.
Which really is all kind of derivative from Hush. So
yeah. Oh, we're all taking drinks at the same time.
Yeah, well, DC, and the Fortnite stuff. That's been fun for me just because I don't read any of it, but every time I get my hands on a copy of it, I tear it to pieces.
Do you take it out the plastic first?
Yes. I want to preserve the poly bag.
You're a G.I. Joe fan, aren't you?
Not really. I mean, because I never played with them as a kid. I wasn't allowed to. They were too violent, but I could play Star Wars.
Yeah, I never.
Sounds like my upbringing.
Because it was a fantasy violence, I guess. I don't know. I didn't question my parents. I just listened to them. You can't have G.I. Joe, but you can have Star Wars. Okay.
That third issue of the Fortnite book was just a fight between Batman and Snake Eyes. It was just as a single issue phenomenal. So
it didn't have any dialogue, probably, and a lot of little kooky weapons.
It was handled seriously, but it was everything around it that really added to it. There wasn't dialogue for the fight. There was narration. It was kind of building it and everything, but it was nuts. Like apparently Fortnite's this world where like everyone's fighting everyone, but this fight became so epic between these two people that were so evenly matched and just so skillful that by the time you're like 3/4 of the way through the fight, the entire universe they're in is sitting by watching what's happening in front of them. It was like a total fan service issue. It was cool.
No, I've never played Fortnite.
Me neither.
I had a similar but opposite experience. I played once, got my ass handed to me, and never touched it again.
So the total opposite of aggressively relaxing.
That's funny because you probably played against aggressive.
Maybe if while I'm in Fortnite, if I could be finding Pokemon, maybe. But I mean,
yeah. I'd rather find Pokemon than play Fortnite.
So that was really all
as Chris the Comic Vet, I love Pokemon.
I hope you find your Pokemon safe and well.
Another thing that I thought that was cool this week is they made it looks like they made the official announcement that the Black Adam full trailer is supposed to be releasing on the 8th. That's just like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that.
Wednesday.
Yeah. So I'm pumped for that. I'm like super hyped for that.
I hope it's good, man. I hope it's good.
And then I also read along the same lines where they went back and they started doing more of the test screening for Flash. Because they did the test screening, it was coming back positive and everything. And then they said they're going to kick it down the road. I think these long-winded dates are not finalized dates because I was reading an article where they were talking about they just started back the test screening for Flash and it's all coming back positive. So they're looking at finding its new release date. So I guess that once they get something where they want it, they're going to then put it on the permanent docket from there, I guess. I mean, everything still seems really wishy-washy with movie release dates these days.
No, it depends if Ezra Miller can stay out of the news or not.
Well, I think they turned it into that he's like a champion of the minority that was fighting against injustice, and that's all it was or something. I'm being serious.
Are you serious?
Oh my god.
He's over here slapping bitches and shit.
But they were making fun of him for being part of a minority group. So that's how they tried to spin it.
Next thing you know, he's passing out Jello pudding pops, and then
And then he gets released.
But now there's new accusations coming up on him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's new accusations coming up on him.
On the
Stuff
coffee?
Still stuff from the way in the past, but
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, if he would have had 24 less victims, that's still a dozen victims.
Oh my god. So with Edward Miller, like they're trying to say that because it was like 3 incidents in like 4 days.
Yeah.
So it was all the same incident?
Two incidents were actually one incident. It's looking like, the whole bar thing that happened where you got kicked out of the bar for being belligerent.
Yeah.
Then the people that wanted the restraining order, that's the house that he went back to after that was just one belligerent night, with the same people and stuff. Just turned into 2 incidents. The other incident, I believe, was at the same place. Like I can't.
So he had got locked up, and then he came out, and it was just like literally the next day.
They were partying at a house again in the same area. So this is all with the same crew of people and stuff. But I read an article that was the article wasn't trying to defend that stance. They were talking about how stupid that defense stance was. That they came out saying that he was just fighting back against people that were being intolerant. Wow. Which I think is just an attempted spin by somebody. I haven't seen Warner Brothers come out
use the right pronouns. That gave him excuse to go off.
Yeah, Warner Brothers has been hands off on this. They just like, dude, let it lie. We'll leave it alone.
It's probably his publicist that's trying to spin it. That's what they get paid for.
Well, that's where their bean counters have said, you guys have spent too much money. If we change anything, we'll never get our money back.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's like Becker says, if he never went to sleep, counts as one incident. But I'm super pumped for the Black Adam trailer. The Rock went to his Twitter and posted that he thinks that everyone's going to be very happy with Dr. Fate. That Pierce Brosnan is a force, and he's very confident with what's coming. This is a passion project for The Rock. He's been wanting to do this for like nearly a decade at this point. I have full faith in this movie. I really do. I hope they don't mess it up.
I want it to be good. I hope they don't mess it up. I'm really rooting for it.
But it's DC?
No, it's not DC. Nah,
it's not? Who's doing it then?
I mean, yeah, no, it's a DC movie, but I mean, it's like...
That's not the reasoning.
But it is, isn't it?
All The Rock's passion projects haven't been good.
Which ones?
What was the last one that he was like, this is my passion project? Is it Rampage? It was fun, but it wasn't like,
Whose passion project is to make a movie out of a mediocre video game?
Right.
I don't know. It's just
I think
more of an
Rampage
arcade
was
game, not even
literally
a
as
video
good as
game.
it could be. Like, I mean, that's just a
what's
disaster flick.
The helicopter one, the one where
The
he
tower.
has also
San Andreas.
San Andreas.
That was a Roland movie.
The one where he has like a prosthetic leg, I think. Is that San Andreas as well?
No, that's the tower or something like that.
Towering Inferno.
Yeah, it's like
No,
he's
that was a much
making
better
movies
movie.
out of the 70s and the 80s, isn't it? disaster film. Oh wait, okay. I loved you in Jumanji. Wait,
I like when he took that little off-board boat motor and the little dinghy and drove it up the tsunami with pure muscle.
Yeah, I mean,
now that we're talking about this, this is the last Rock movie I even saw.
All the ships are sliding and falling, and he's just holding that throttle down, making it.
Because
my point exactly. Thank you, sir.
Because he was Black Adam then, and he was channeling
Skyscraper. That's what it was called.
Skyscraper. That's what.
I knew something about a big building.
Yes. I'm over here towering and.
I got to do some push-ups just talking about this guy.
Skyscraper.
Aside from Hawkman and Dr. Fate, so-called JSA, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone, yeah, all 4 of them are JSAers. Yep. So I'm excited just to see it.
I also kind of think that this is going to decide what happens with a lot more of what they've already done. Like you were talking about with these like very fluid dates and stuff. I think they're kind of waiting to see like can The Rock and Black Adam and all of this stuff save all their interconnectivity, or should they like push everything back and kind of try to build some bridges?
They just need to do individual movies and don't worry about trying to chain your stuff together. Otherwise, it's going to become, because if anything, what we've learned from Marvel is that, well, initially it was super cool, but now you've got bloat, and now it's like it's a chore that you have to watch things, right? So instead, great, do your individual movies. If you want to have a crossover between them here and there, fine, go ahead and do that, but don't try to build up to some giant event where you've got to work everybody into everything. It just becomes too much.
I agree.
Eventually you get cornered.
And you have a problem where your actors, I mean, look, The Rock's not a spring chicken. Granted, man's in great shape for this stuff. But, so you get, unless you're starting off with all your stars being young guys, it's just, you have a limited time on the shelf where there's a practicality of it.
What do y'all think the chances of getting Henry Cavill Superman fighting The Rock is, knowing, like you said, The Rock's not a spring chicken, knowing that The Rock's been very vocal about getting this project made, and he wants to face off with Superman. Like he wants his Black Adam to fight Superman, and we just saw this week too with part of this merger thing and all the. Put it on the counter, it's fine. Or right there on my phone.
I think if this movie is good enough that people like it, but not good enough to save their whole like continuity and interconnected universe, why not bring Henry Cavill in and do a Black Adam 2 to just like kind of wipe everything off the face of the earth and go out with a bang and fan service it all to hell?
I don't think it has anything to do with the movie being good or not. I hope it's good, but it's about making money. So if the movie makes money, without a shadow of a doubt, they're going to bring in Henry Cavill, just because The Rock is a money making or
machine,
money drawing star, and without a doubt, if this movie does well financially, they'll bring in Henry Cavill to fight.
Yeah, to Flo's point with the merger, assume everything's canceled. They've been canceling, halting a lot of these projects. Where it looked like, especially here in the last year, DC was just announcing this, announcing that, a show here, a movie there, cancel this one. Now that the merger, they're just swiping so much of it, and they even are looking at J.J. Abrams' contract and all the stuff that he's holding that he's not doing anything with, and getting on him for his time frame. Go get your cup. And then they also said that they want to scrap the Black Superman project that he was working on, that whether it was Val Zod or a black version of Clark Kent that they had Ta-Nehisi Coates writing, they want to scrap that and just go back to Cavill, because that's
with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah,
The Michael B. Jordan movie that you're talking about.
No, Michael B. Jordan's supposed to be doing some kind of Val Zod thing for HBO Max. J.J. Abrams with Ta-Nehisi Coates is wanting to do a Black Clark Kent movie.
Oh, a completely different thing. Okay.
Yeah. And so the new people are coming.
That's exactly what they need, is more projects of the same characters in different colors all over the place.
They came in and said, "Why? How about no? Let's get Cavill rolling again."
How about no?
Yeah, everyone agreed with projects.
Bye-bye.
No, I like his message under that one. So no one is attached to these decisions. Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Like nobody's responsible. Nobody has to take any blame. They can just wipe it all off the board, or they can make it all and it can be a complete disaster, but nobody has to suffer any repercussions.
Hey, let's relaunch 5G, but in the movie universe. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Like I want to see them just go for like Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis, give us the Blue Beetle thing.
Oh, dude,
bring in Static Shock. Just like give us like a young blood, fresh new faces, enough familiarity that people are like, oh, I'm intrigued. I want to watch these characters and find out more because I don't know enough. But they're familiar enough that like they will actually pull people into the theater instead of just like making up some random new things that really won't pull anybody in, you know?
And I think we mentioned it last week on the show, but they dropped those photos on the set of Blue Beetle, and obviously without the augmented CG to his suit that obviously will be there with the extra scarab on his back with the arms, but it looked good, man.
Is he going to fight the Tick?
Oh, I
That's
hope
what I
not.
wanna
The Tig's going to drag him if they do. The Tig don't lose, my man. Spoon. Yeah,
Spoon.
he is undefeated.
Tick is so good.
I want to
He
see a
is.
tick versus termite fight.
Oh my God! Couldn't get in a suit, my man. Couldn't get in a suit. It's not even a suit. He's not wearing a suit. He talks about that. That's one of the funniest stories. He's got no backstory. Doesn't have a clue who he is. He's not wearing a suit.
Arthur.
Did y'all? Obviously, y'all watched the cartoon of it in the '90s with the Midnight Bomber. What bombs at midnight? My favorite of all of it was the Patrick Warburton live action from the mid '90s. Batman Well, yeah. Yeah, they got in trouble for the character Deflate a Mouse because it's literally just Batman.
Right.
So they had to change it to Batman Well.
And then he had what was the Liberty
Lady
or
Liberty.
Lady Liberty with a prosthetic purse.
I remember Duckman, Attorney at Law.
Oh yeah.
Duckman came on the same time that the Max was coming on MTV, that Spawn was on HBO. That was an era for animated shows.
What's up, Big Nosh?
Big Nosh is in the building. But y'all got any books that you read this week that you might want to mention or talk about?
I read some old issues of Invaders, but I haven't read anything new.
You were really excited about those last night, and the ads specifically.
I've been enjoying it for some reason. I don't know what it is. I've just been enjoying reading that series as I've been picking them up. But I didn't even get to my LCS this week. I only had like 2 books come in, so it wasn't.
Yeah, I picked up some stuff. The only thing that I read from the stuff I picked up this week was did it even come out this week? A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance 8, which I think
I do that one digital, so I don't know what week it came out.
Yes, I don't know if it was this week or last week, but that was amazing. And then I think again, these were from last week. Loaded Bible #4 and New Burn. But I've been rocking this today, trying to get through this Future Imperfect, the Secret Wars tie-in War Zones. So this is what I'm reading. Love me some Maestro, but it's new stuff. I picked up my new stuff. I just haven't been reading it. I was just like,
are you up on New Burn?
Yeah,
all the way through the issue 7.
Yeah, issue 7.
What do you think of that ending, man?
Hold up. Let me go through it.
Recap.
Oh man, that was intense.
I am not a spring chicken. Yes, when they arrested her.
Station? Yeah,
in the police station.
Pulls a gun on her right in the middle of the police station, and everybody reacts like they all are like, "Okay, cop got a gun. All right, let's get on her."
Yeah,
you know?
throw
Like,
her
wait, what?
down.
You don't even know what's going on right now.
Yeah, at that point is just like protect your brother in blue. It was phenomenal. New Burn is a phenomenal series for those that aren't up on it, man. Phenomenal.
I'm an issue behind.
They paced all of it out. You know, you kind of like get this like very like episodic thing, and then all of a sudden strings start coming together in the diary, and you're like, oh, okay, all right. And then you end up with a bunch of cops pulling a gun on her in the middle of a police station. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, Emily. No, it's funny because we all read so much, and Rob said The Rock is not a spring chicken. I am no spring chicken. Yeah, and I forget a lot of stuff. So usually I'll go like with this. I had to just thumb through issue 6 before I started reading this, just to catch up or refresh myself. Is that and all the weed I smoked when I was a kid? So
I do like it when the comics are nice enough to put a little thing on the first page reminding you what the story is.
Yeah. That should be the rule. Previously on Ready to Die.
So Mark Howard just read World of Krypton. That was he said that was great. I enjoyed it. That one right there. Robert Venditti wrote it. That's why it was good. That's why it was so solid. That's the one that had the Oming interior art. That was the one that had the Oming interior art. It's very like animated series-ish almost. It's like Darwin Cook meets the standard Batman the Animated Series style. It's very unique art style. But it's weird because it had Miko covers, which is like hyper realistic. Then you open it to hyper animated. But it was cool. But
that was like that Thing book, the Thing series, where the covers were amazing and then the interior art was trash.
This was far from trash though, because it had those vibes of the animated series. It's like you just got the brake slammed on you for a second, but by the time you get like 2 pages in, you're just into that style. But I don't typically lean toward that kind of art style.
I read that first one, and that was kind of one thing that really like put me off on it. Was like it looked like we were about to get like the Warworld saga, and then you open it up and it's like animated Batman the animated series or something. I was like, this is jarring to say the least.
Ryan, did you read the annual?
Yes, I did.
What did you think of that?
Man, dude, that book was phenomenal. The way that I had read the like solicit for it, it came off as very much like reprinted, collected material, just kind of organized to like kind of give you an overview of the characters before we get into it. But it was far from that, and it was just like phenomenal. I mean, it was a great story with Clark. We kind of know like Clark's upbringing and stuff, but they did a great job of like kind of touching on an important moment in his childhood. But then like all the stuff we got with what's his name with Mongol was just like awesome, you know. And it was a great juxtaposition next to what Clark went through growing up. They're very much like the opposites, trying to kind of achieve the same things. And it's really interesting, like the way they played it out. I thought it was extremely well done and plays perfectly into what we're getting out of the Warworld saga.
Couldn't agree more. That polar opposites moving at the same pace. When he come back out of that desert, he was a force to be reckoned with. But there's still a large gap in him coming back and him getting into the throne. I wonder if they're ever going to fill that in or not, or just leave it hanging. But DJ, did you read Ghost Rider from this week?
I haven't. I picked it up, but I haven't read it yet.
That series is getting higher and higher on my list. That was really cool.
Another issue 3 or 4.
Issue 3.
First 2 were amazing.
Yeah, it's got these total Immortal Hulk vibes to it, like with what they're doing, like the formula of it almost. Mm-hmm. It's Ghost Rider's back big time. And I love the style that they're doing with all of the stuff that gets like hellfired in this, like from his bite. In this issue, you see him fire up a semi-truck. It's just wicked. We're almost getting like an episodic little, almost like a TV show. Each issue is its own little self-contained story that's kind of taking you through the main plot from the beginning and the end of the book, just filling you in. But it was really good.
Yeah, I need to get up on that, man. I really enjoyed issue 1 and 2.
It kind of gets into like these concepts of like places on the planet that are forgotten kind of thing, and how do they get forgotten, and like how with us these days with phones, and nobody studies maps anymore. When they're driving, they're not looking at what's around them. Even they're looking at their phone, or they're looking straight ahead, just listening. You don't recognize anything, and when you don't recognize things, places become foreign to you. Places that you should remember, and in those moments, things can happen and stuff like that. And it was a really cool concept they were playing with. Rob, you ain't got nothing outside of Invaders you want to hit on?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't.
Doesn't have to be new, my man.
I haven't read anything.
You read the newspaper when you're pooping today?
No.
Just scroll Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, I am curious.
Do the TikToks.
Ryan, you did get caught up on this, right? So this is
yes, sir.
About.
That was this week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I read that. Yeah, you see, like days are just melded together. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's the summer heat. It's just melting everything together.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I feel like the series is back on track with this one. That last issue had me a little bit scared, kind of going over familiar ground. But this one hit the ground running and introduced us to some new concepts, which I was expecting with that ending to it, where they kind of stepped into Walter's world, the place between his reality and their reality. And I thought that was pretty cool, because she looked at him and says, I don't see anything. It's completely dark in here. It's like, it's not empty. You just don't perceive what's in here. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no, that was a crazy ending. And then is next issue the conclusion?
No, next issue is number 10. We have 3 issues left. So I think next issue we're going to get to see what's behind the curtain, because she's saying that she wants Walter to be more upfront with her and that they can figure this out. And as soon as he allows her backstage. He brings her in. The first thing she does is dart for a door. Like, where are you going to go? Like,
No, was that her or was that because remember she had said meet me at the house with the side door. We're gonna leave it open. So did she walk through the door with Walter and then whoever else was left? I forget the names. Ran into the door after her.
Oh, that's someone following him. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I thought that was her darting from Walter.
Yes, I think that's like Ryan or something. Not our Ryan.
Dora or Ryan.
Yeah, it was like because she had said somebody in Reg went to meet them at the door or whatever when she was doing the messages on the glass with the steam.
Yeah, that was a cool shot when he did that. But we can fight back. Yeah, he's just obsessed with trying to do it the right way. He's like he's a perfectionist, and there's no solution. Like even for him, like this issue, we kind of get the sense that it's out of his control. Even he's reset their memories. He's tried this again. To our knowledge, only the 2 times that we've seen, and he can't get it right. It won't work out. We won't act the way that he needs them to act for this to work out for them to survive. If that's even the case, we still don't even have all the details on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna have to like answer to his higher ups or something.
Ryan, what'd you get from this issue?
I mean, I kind of agree with Ignacio there. Like, it's been good, and part of it's probably having read like the last 3. So what, 7, 8, and 9? I read all 3 of those this week, and it definitely felt like kind of just like we're doing a thing right now. Sort of like Act 2 kind of stuff. Just like it's interesting, but it's not really intriguing at this point because they're kind of retreading everything we went through for the first couple of issues. And then like right there at the end, like we're talking about, like once she starts like cluing them in, like, hey, there's more going on than meets the eye, and like we can fight back. There's things we can do. Like it started to get kind of interesting there. So I'm hoping that this is kind of leading us into the final act of the series.
Well, I think the series would have done a lot better with 2 less issues and never doing showing us he's resetting their minds and trying again. Because like you said, between them, like learning that they're in a house and getting their surroundings and, we can't die here, which we covered in this issue again, they could have not done any of that. All that was kind of pointless.
Yeah, like I thought it was really cool whenever they're like, hey, like why didn't we think to like ask for like another building or another house or like a vehicle or something? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just smash cut to their like waking up to a house. Like we don't need to see you like plan it out and draw it all out and work it all out and come up with how you're going to order something, since we already spent like 3 early issues with you learning how to order. Yeah,
Tynan wasted a good bit in the middle of this. He kind of killed the flow of it.
Yeah.
The end of it got me pumped. I feel like we're going to hit the ball rolling. If we don't hit the ball rolling from here on out, this is going to have been a bust. A good start. And this has been Donnie Cates if he doesn't get it rolling. But I love the idea that we're about to get to see what's behind the magic curtain here.
Yeah, but I think.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say back to I totally agree with Ryan about the retreading and all that other stuff, but I think it was also kind of necessary because he snatched their memories away. So for them, it was new. So we had to go through the same shit again. So yeah, it was lazy. It was necessary, but it does need to ramp up. And next issue has to be killer. Has to be.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it was necessary, and I think it is like an interesting twist on it, but I just wish the pacing of all of that had been a little bit better. I think that's where it kind of hurt it, was how slow they re-explored the same territory. They could have just like given us like a TikTok style smash cut on all of that, and we could have kind of like figured it all out,
That's right, Biggie. Walter's going to come in on Falcor.
And there's only one other book that I got this week, and that was the Justice League Road to Dark Crisis, which is the epilogue to the event, or prologue to the event, and epilogue to the death of the Justice League, that we kind of see how the world and the surviving heroes react and respond to the death and dealing with some of the villains uprising, the low-key villains uprising. You see that some of the bigger names are kind of laying back and building up something, making plans and all that. We didn't get any look at the Dark Army or what's going on with the Great Darkness. And yeah, I'm just ready for Tuesday to get issue 1 because it actually kicks off Tuesday.
What's Tuesday? Which
Dark Crisis issue 1 comes out. And even bigger than that.
What was the Justice League book that came out this Tuesday that I picked up?
This is the
Road to Dark Crisis.
This is a one shot that, like I said, it bridges the death of the Justice League over to the event.
Because I did pick up the death of the Justice League and I enjoyed it. I'm just dipping my toe into the whole Justice League realm.
So you'll enjoy this then.
Yes, I picked that up, so I definitely need to read that before the one coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah. So there's like 4 or 5 different segments in this where it starts out with like Nightwing and John Kent, because you're going to get a good idea of the dynamic of what's left. You know, the Justice League is dead. That doesn't mean these young kids are taking over as the leaders of the DC universe. No, you're seeing people like Nightwing, who's now like the seniority kind of being looked to for help, advice, and all that. And you see him trying to put on like the dad face and act strong and like he's not scared for John and stuff. It was really cool. You see Wally and his family. Well, his family's freaking out, and he's just playing off like this happens all the time. Like just because people die doesn't, like they touch on that, like the idea of death isn't permanent. How people going into this are like, oh, they're not going to stay dead. It's not a big deal. It was never supposed to be. The death of this Justice League was never supposed to be like the death of Superman. It's not supposed to be like, oh no, they're gone forever. Like they point that out in this. Like, no, they're not gone forever. What are we going to do about getting them back is the question. You know, and I thought that was awesome.
That's about where the book had me. Everything after that, like, most of it was kind of lost on me. Like, whenever they go talk to Homeboy in the park, I was like, I don't know who this is. They're referencing a past event that I've never read. Like,
you're talking about Pariah?
Yeah.
So Pariah is the one responsible for the first Crisis on Infinite Earths. She was a scientist on this planet that was dealing with this, dabbling in the multiverse stuff, and created a machine that released the antimatter that just tore through the universe. So as his penance, he was forced to watch the end of universes. That's why he's called Pariah. So he's stuck there in this purgatory, just waiting for an end of a universe to happen, just having to live through these simulations. Basically, this is the magic.
Like what he's seeing there is all like stuff that it's like scenes from Crisis or whatever, right?
Talking about his wife and kids and stuff dying. No, he's on the bench. He's on the bench. There's nothing going on. So think of the Watcher. The Watcher only comes out when there's something to watch. What does he do when he's not watching? Pariah. That was what Pariah does when he's not being forcefully pulled to an event where he has to watch World's End. So that's why he's like, y'all aren't real. I know you're not real. And then they come for him at the end of it. Pariah, time to go. And the Great Darkness shoots him up and takes him out. So he's going to work now. So that was cool. That was the first time we ever saw what does Pariah do when worlds aren't ending. So I thought that was super dope.
I was like, I'm sure like Mark is freaking out right now. Like I have no clue what they're talking about here.
He does his laundry when he's not watching.
And then who was the last story? I'm guessing that was all just like, what are the bad guys doing whenever all of this is happening and there's nothing else happening in the world?
Was that last story with that last story was with Noctera is from Suicide Squad.
Yeah, barely.
Yes, she's
I was like, vampire. Oh, this is the chick from Suicide Squad.
So I thought that story was awesome. So like the JLA's gone. How are they responding? So you have Spoiler, who's one of the Batgirls, just proceeding to do her duty, but you have a villain, Noctera, who doesn't know what to do. Like she's actually shook. She doesn't want to go break into this place, but she literally she has no other purpose in life. So she finds herself going through the motions. I'm here. And they give up the fight and they literally lean on each other. You know what I mean? Like I know no one, I have no one to console me. And they kind of find that with each other. And they go their separate ways. And then that's where we get the little tease of what the real villains are up to.
Yeah.
The real power.
Yeah. Like the humanity aspect of it was interesting. I was like, I just don't really understand exactly like what the importance here is. And then you get like that splash at the end. I was like, okay, so I think it's just showing us that like all of the villains are like kind of confused about the state of the world at the moment.
No, the ones that it showed you the splash at the end are the ones that are organizing.
Yeah,
So
they're all like
they're
coming
going,
together
they're
and
going
stuff because
around
they're like trying to
recruiting and
recruit her, right?
Yeah, recruiting and organizing because they see the vacuum and they're trying to take advantage of it. Where she's wandering around lost, they're about to give her a purpose, obviously to their own good. The Green Lantern and Aquaman one I thought was dope. Green Lantern was dealing with a little evasion that came down, and he pulled Jackson up like, "Hey, where's Aquaman? You got me. The other one's dead. What?"
Yeah.
And I thought that so that was cool.
That one kind of felt like fluff, just to like how do we let Green Lantern know that like the universe is in chaos, but like without like having to like just go get him to tell him, you know.
Yeah,
and so like they came with this weird little like fluff piece to like get him there.
Get Hal Jordan back to Earth for context. He hasn't been on Earth, so we got Hal Jordan back on Earth, and so we were set. We are set to take off with issue 1 after this.
Yeah, those first 2 stories though crushed it. I loved how like they kind of gave this like meta. They addressed like the meta narrative and the issues that we as the readers have without like straight up going into like, okay, we're just going to break the fourth wall and tell you here. Like it was really cool the way they addressed all of those issues.
Garth is in Atlantis. All of the Aqua characters that you remember are primary characters running around. If you read Aquaman, that's going on right now. The crossover between Black Manta and Aquaman the Becoming led up to that. But Garth is one of the main players in there. He's in Atlantis, like Mira, Jackson, Arthur. They're all right there front and center all the time. But that's really all the books I got to review this week, short and to the point. If y'all don't have nothing else y'all want to touch on, give some stuff away and get out of here for the night.
The only other book I have is Hardware, and this was the 6th issue, so it kind of wrapped up the miniseries there. It was pretty baller. I really enjoyed it. I like Curtis didn't. It kind of reminds me of like the end of the Batman, the way Falcone goes out, and so like it's not really a fight between him and Batman. It leads to something else, And that's kind of how this was. Like Curtis didn't get to directly address Alva because Alva would be like Lex Luthor without the suit or something, versus Superman. And so like they kind of had his fight like kind of wrap up with all these like side characters and stuff. So it gave like a good wrap to their narrative with him, and then like Curtis gets to come in and kind of wrap up the whole thing. And then we find out about the milestones in history that's coming up at the end of this month. So I thought it was a great wrap up. I really enjoyed that series. It's not like the best of the milestone series, but it was far from the worst, and I really enjoyed it. I like the like real ugly art that it has going for it. Actually kind of reminds me of like 90s stuff, like very like scratchy, dirty, gritty style. And so yeah, that was a cool series, and I hope we get to see Hardware make more appearances after this.
Shout out to Dirty and Gritty.
Can't rain all the time.
All right, so let's go ahead and give away this Legion loot for this month. I'll go ahead and show off what's in it real quick. So these are the books that were sent by Big Time Collectibles that are going in this month. This is Tales from the Stray Dogs Dog Days one shot. That's an homage to Tales from the Crypt. And we have the Venom #1 Scon variant.
Nice.
The what was this? Prophet Facsimile #1 by Alan Quav Virgin variant.
That's nice.
Ooh. Very 90s. Alan really knocked that out. And then Batman 118, the Miko limited trade dress in the black and white.
First appearance of Abyss.
Yeah. And then we've got the first appearance of Jason Todd, Tim Drake as Robin in Batman number 457. These are the ones that I've thrown in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Batman Year 1. It starts in 404, 405, 406, and 407. So it's the whole 4-issue Batman Year 1 story right there. And then Pops Gave me this to throw in there, which is Batman: The Dark Knight Returns hardback collection that comes with a mask that you can wear, keep in here, do whatever you want with it.
I could use that mask.
Use that mask so I could cosplay King Titus.
Boom. And then Jonathan,
hello.
War Machine Punisher sent one of these to donate to Legion Loot, which is the original cereal from Batman the '89 film with the collectible thing.
Do not recommend eating the cereal at this point.
No,
I would eat it. I would pour a big bowl.
No, you got to put some water on that shit. But the crisps are shaped like bats.
Wow.
It's basically Captain Crunch in a bat.
Yes.
suit.
That's what it was at the time.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh man.
That one and Bill and Ted cereal came with a bowl shaped like a freaking phone booth.
It says
Except that it was Lucky Charms. It had like marshmallow guitars and marshmallow.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
this should still be good to eat. It says it's fortified with 9 essential vitamins and minerals, so it should be fine.
Yeah, but what was it by use-by date?
I don't know, but it's got natural honey nut flavor. So, Rob, the date doesn't matter.
Oh, of course not.
If we were living in a dystopian future,
And literally 1989, Rob. That's the date on the box.
that's awesome. I would definitely. I would at least try one. Maybe not
If,
with milk.
if it was a Twinkie, we would not have any of these questions.
Well, let me just put it like this: it can't be any worse than the Funko cereals.
And then lastly, I'm going to be throwing in the Batman movie poster. I'm not going to unfold the whole thing. You get it. It's that shot of him standing in the rain, which is every shot of the movie.
I'm vengeance.
Can't rain all the time.
I said I'm vengeance. Pay attention to me. I said I'm vengeance.
I'll share my screen over here.
I need to watch that movie again. I only saw it the one time in the theater.
I've watched it 2 times now.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Well, I think you should go back and watch it in the theater.
Yeah, it's a whole different experience. All right, so we got all the names on here. So we're going to spin this thing. I'm going to shuffle it a few times just because I'm good enough. All right, the winner of this previous May Legion Loot.
Anybody but Nick's Kicks and Comics.
DJ Links.
I expect a full review on that cereal.
No,
you gotta eat it live now, bro.
No, spin it again. Spin it again. I feel bad. That's super rigged.
All right, here we go. Spinning it again.
Comes back around. DJ
Share the
Links.
screen. Share the screen. Share the screen.
It's twice as rigged now.
Let me go back over here and share the screen.
Yeah, this one doesn't count. This one doesn't count.
Dude. Would have been really cute.
Yeah, no, that doesn't count because your screen wasn't up.
I'm going to shuffle it again, and we'll spin it again. Here we go.
I just want to express I am super grateful. I'm not turning it. Yeah.
Nick's Kicks and Comics.
Comic book poser. There you go. You got 1 week to claim your prize.
He won the Links box on Friday.
He did.
Ooh.
So you got 1 week to claim your prize.
Lucky guy.
Passed out and given away down the road elsewhere. So by this time next Sunday night.
You know what? Send them the book. Send me the cereal. I'm gonna make a video of me eating the box of cereal. No, I'm just kidding.
I want to see you eat the cereal.
I forgot what it was I got a mystery box and somebody included I think it was a pack of Turtles cards with the gum.
With the gum, right?
I ate the gum, and you can find it on one of the videos. I don't know which one it was, but I ate the gum and it disintegrated like.
I think I remember watching you do that. I was on a hangout or something.
Yeah, I was like,
I was trying to think about that when we were talking about the cereal. I was like, somebody had trading cards with old gum that went really bad.
I do have some 86 Donruss baseball cards. They're still sealed in the back that have the gum. Yeah.
Go get it, Rob. Go get it. I dare you.
The last pack that I opened, not only was the gum like super hard, like a razor blade, but it stained the cards. So like, I don't even know if it's any good with the cards, Fortunately, I'm sure, it was 1986 Donruss. I'm sure it was worth jack and shit. It was worth more as a sealed pack because it could have any card in it at that point versus a known set of cards.
Yeah. There's probably still lead in that gum anyway.
It's over. I'll start it over.
Yeah. These kids are up late partying.
He's up late
It's
watching
summer.
Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's summer.
Is it
I
summer,
forgot.
DJ? Yeah.
The best thing I remember back in the day,
Uh-oh.
obviously back in the day, was teaching my daughter how to use the VCR. So I was just like, when it's over, hit this button, so she knew how to rewind. At like 2 years old, legit. Rewind
tape
and
out.
play.
That's amazing.
Put it in the rewinder.
Nah, that's just lazy. You're on mute, Mark.
I try to get to bed a little bit early on my off weekends because starting the week back up is rough. I had one of my employees get attacked by a dog today, so I'm going to deal with that tomorrow.
Sounds like a hazard of the job.
It is. You want to see his arm?
No.
You sure?
Was
Yes.
it? Yes. We want to see the arm. Yes.
It's really not that. He's just got about 4 holes in it.
If it's not a Joe Exotic type arm, then,
That's what I'm hoping for.
right?
The tiger took my arm, but I was okay because it was my fault.
No, he's got like legit holes.
Yeah,
in
man,
it.
that dog had
put
a
a
dog
tattoo
get
on
it
his
too. I
arm?
was to say he had ink in his teeth.
Wow.
Good work.
That explains my tramp stamp. A dog bit me on the ass.
It wasn't a dog. It was Mark.
They got him good. I'm just going to get the focus.
Yeah.
Damn.
Ooh, wow. Right in the vein, too.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that dog did not want to get a bath.
No, when he was picking up food bowls, it had got past him and it got out. So he was trying to get it back in, and I keep a lead on me at all times, like you just sling it around their neck and pull on it. You know that you don't have to clip it, just a choke
Right.
lead. I keep it on me at all times, and as part of the day, you're supposed to have one on you at all times. He didn't have one on him, and it's a dog aggressive dog. So as soon as it got out, it went to the front of all the other rooms and started hitting the doors and trying to get in them. And he tried to put his hands on that dog to put it back up. As soon as he touched it, it turned around and Cujo got him. Same breed of dog as Cujo, Beethoven. So that dog, all it did was, then that's all that happened. He got those are probably 1/2-inch holes. He's got 2 of those, but that dog gave him a warning shot. He was lucky.
So that's
So
my
is the
dog's
dog
scared
allowed
of those
back?
dogs.
I'm gonna talk to the employee.
I didn't know that was the same dog as Beethoven because my daughter, when she was little, wanted to watch
St. Bernard's.
Beethoven, and I just grabbed the first tape with that dog on it, and I might have watched Cujo.
Yeah, might have. So we don't require dogs to get along with other dogs because of the way that the facility is set up, they don't have to. So that dog didn't do anything wrong. That dog is perfectly fine with people. We had an employee not following protocol and working properly, and he got bit as a response of that. So I'm going to have a talk with the employee first. Again, if that dog was that dog just turned around and said, "Leave me alone" when he bit him. It wasn't attacking him. It was just didn't want to be messed with. So
No, because otherwise he would have been still holding on.
yeah, that's a big dog. It was like a 110-pound dog.
Wow. Roll over Beethoven.
If
That's
you're-
why he had to start singing.
Yeah, there's group chats when I sent those photos a couple of weeks back about that dog that kept snapping at my face while I was grooming him. It was that same dog.
See, don't you wish you had a dog like mine then?
I do.
This is-
Just smaller.
They all just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, hound dogs.
dog was small like me?
The only difference between mine and Rob's is mine is smaller and mine's not a mutt. So.
Oh,
Where do you keep going with this mutt shit from?
It's because you take it personally. But what do you got going on tomorrow on your channel, Rob? Let's
It's Monday mail call, baby. There's some boxes. I open them up. There's stuff inside.
there you go.
Then you know what? On Thursday, I'll open up some more boxes. There'll be stuff inside. But on Saturday, we'll sit down, me, myself, Chris Comic Vet, and we're going to sit down with the Sultan of Slabs. And we'll take ourselves for a ride.
Okay.
A ride.
He has Sultan of Slab's got another impressive collection. That's what I'm going to say. So it's another impressive collection that we're going to have come through on Slap Up. So buckle up.
Nice. Ryan, what's dropping on the newsletter tomorrow?
Man, yeah, I got a new story dropping in the morning, so I'm excited to show that off. I also have another new project. Let me think. So if you type in comics.supply, I now have a web store that offers books for sale. So check that out. And you can use this code for 10% off your first purchase if you choose to buy something. It's still a work in progress, but it's coming along. And so, I need people to test it and see if it actually works as intended. So
it's orange.
Yeah.
Is it .com, .net,
.supply.
.supply?
Let me see if I do.
Are these your books you're selling?
Yes, sir.
I know what you're
I think
doing.
that one's hyperlinked. Boom.
Bitdefender says it's a suspicious page and it's been blocked for my protection. That this website has unsafe, untrusted security certificates, and phishing sites use fake certificates that can trigger this alert. Their goal is to obtain your sensitive information. Do not proceed.
We're on to you, Ryan.
Yeah.
So Bitdefender doesn't like your website. Probably has relies on some older web certificates, probably that are outdated.
Probably. Yeah. So that's still a work in progress, but yeah, if you want to check it out.
I tried. My security says no.
Yeah.
Condoms are not 100% safe. By car.
Sounds fair enough.
Wait a second. Was he just wearing it walking around, or was he in the bedroom using it and they got hit by a car? Because one story is far more interesting than the other.
Right.
I'm still not sure which story is more interesting, but one of
them. Are these the real prices on here?
Should be, yeah.
You're selling. See, it does look fishy. You got like a 9.6 CGC graded Alex Ross covered ASM book for $9.99.
Yeah.
Add to cart.
Have you looked at the prices on that book?
No, but
that's a deal.
It's a slab for $9.99. I'm going to get it.
It is beat up on the corner.
That can be fixed.
What do you mean?
The corner of it's like chipped.
Oh.
Just the slab though, not the actual book.
Firefox can't find that website either.
Firefox.
I want to get that Daredevil book, but I can't find it on here. I see it on the top.
A Daredevil book?
Yeah, not the Man Without Fear, the OG Daredevil.
The Death Defying Devil.
Comment?
I have to use Microsoft in order to get to that stupid website.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. To get to this great website. After trying 3 browsers, I finally found a browser that'll take me there.
Yeah, I don't think I've made it to the Death Defying Devil as far as product uploads yet.
Okay, yeah. Well, then I'll just get this
site is
one
sponsored by
book.
Pornhub, so.
As long as they pay, who cares?
Basically.
Ryan, if I buy something off here, is my identity going to get stolen?
Yep.
Not by me.
But the site's not secure, so hey.
Ryan, I'm just going to PayPal you the money for that book, bro.
Yeah. Who knows if I'll get that either?
Oh yeah, I'll just cash that book, bro.
PayPal does not like me.
I wonder if it has to do with this website.
Actually, no. I'm running Stripe through there, but I did not even try PayPal. They just sent me a message out of the blue a day or two before I even started working on that. I was like, okay, so, and check this out. I called PayPal, right? I think I told you about this. I called PayPal because they're like, oh yeah, we suspended your account because, and I was like, oh well, that's great reasoning. So like, let me call you guys. And so I called, and the guy's like, yeah, so your account is limited because there's limitations on it. And I was like, that doesn't really make any sense. I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, well, we here at PayPal Frontline, this is all the information we can get on this. And I was like, that sounds kind of weird, like a bunch of law jargon that really means nothing to regular people. What does it mean to you? He was like, well, we here at PayPal Frontline, this is all of the information we can find on this issue. I was like, all right, well, I'm done. Like, I got to go back to work. I was like, this is weird. Why are you not giving me an answer about anything? You suspended my account, but like, you don't have a reason why?
It took a while when I had a problem. When they did that to my account, and it took a while. And then when I finally got answers, it turned out because my account is not a business account, and somebody, I always ask for, most people pay me friends and family when I do stuff. I don't sell a lot. But somebody, for some reason, paid me as goods and services, and that froze my account because my account's not a business account. And then when they finally unfroze everything, they finally told me, make sure you tell people not to pay you with goods and services, because otherwise it could cause the same problem again. I'm like, oh, all right, that's completely contrary to what everybody else always claims when you're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have a business account either, so maybe somebody tried to send me money that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the case. I just know that happened with me. Was because somebody made a payment as goods and services, that triggers them to think that now it's a business account, but you're not set up as a business account, and so then it triggers a review of like everything you're doing and stuff. But they're not very forthcoming about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to them. I said, no, look, I barely, as you can see, almost 90% of my transactions are outbound transactions. I said, yes, I sold a couple items. It's like a garage sale, here and there. And I go, yep, nope, that makes sense. No problem. They should have done friends and family. We'll clear it. Just tell everybody in the future, make sure they only pay you friends and family. Don't do goods and services.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to go to a business account. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right,
I'm
cool.
still trying to find out answers from them, but I'm also not waiting on them because whatever.
Yeah,
no,
no,
that's some clarity, Ryan. Is there what kind of buyer protections on the website? Like Rob was talking about with the little unsafe website things that come up and all that.
All the protections.
Yeah, all the protections. I'll include one unused condom in each shipment.
Is that something when you build a website that you have to be privy to, like putting those kind of things on it? I don't know about any of that.
It's the hosting.
Yeah. There's terms and conditions are listed through free web store. But I haven't read through them, so I can't tell you exactly what it says at the moment.
Yeah, usually these things are the web host. It's up to the host as to whether or not they're up to date on the most recent certificates. And there's some older. If you have older certificates and haven't updated that, then what happens is some of these will get flagged, especially Chrome. Via Chrome browser which is pretty interesting though. If I use Microsoft Edge, I can always get around it because my LCS has the same issue where they have these flags, and I've talked to the owner about it and she's aware of it. But if I go to Microsoft Edge, I don't have that problem, even though it's also a Chromium browser.
I went through Chrome and I didn't get hit with any red flags.
Yeah, but it was my virus and protection software, Bitdefender, that was popping up and causing the flag, as opposed to just standard Chrome. If I uninstall the security software, then sure. But I run a lot of security software stuff because I'm also using my same network for my work. My work stuff goes through here.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is why Tyler and myself recommend Bing.
When you don't care about viruses.
Bing.
Just slay yourself out there with Bing.
Bada bing.
Big bada bing. Which I did. I bought my tickets.
To Bing?
No, the Big Bada Boom
The podcast?
for the Fifth Element.
For the
Oh.
Fathom.
The Fathom event, Fifth Element in the theaters. I'm happing out. That's
Ryan, this website looks pretty good, man.
Well, thank you.
See, Tyler agrees with me. Bing greater than sign.
Yeah, they also have iPod killer, Zune.
Zoom.
I have a Zune.
Burke, the answer is no. The Burke box did not arrive yet. I'm sure it's taped to the side of a delivery vehicle somewhere.
Oh shit, Rob.
Let's see.
Just picturing it taped to the side of like mad tape on the side of
It's just stuck to another package because of all the tape, right? The Burke box is currently at my local post office, and it's expected to be delivered tomorrow.
Nice.
That's nice of them. Usually it's at my local post office and will be delivered in 3 to 5 business days.
Big shout out to Ryan for fixed shipping prices.
Nice. I prefer broken shipping prices, but fixed.
Hopefully that makes up for the security warnings.
Lately at the post office, so I go to the PO box, right, to pick up, and there isn't a slip in my box, and this has happened for the last 3 times. There's no
They're
slip
going to
in the
slip
box.
it in your box.
So then I'm like, excuse me, I have a package that says it was delivered. There's not a slip in the box, and they're like, oh, if there was a slip in the box, I mean, if there was no slip, then you didn't get a package, and I'm like, but it says delivered, and they were like, can you please just check? And they'll go and they come out with a stack of packages, and I'm just like.
Or like
that sounds like exactly the kind of thing that
Ryan,
Planned
do you get an
Parenthood is
email?
fighting.
Do you get an email when someone buys something from you?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah,
Well, I just bought the Spider-Man slab just then. I went and looked through your website for a minute, and I was able to check out with Google Pay too, so I didn't have to really put in any information. It just
Yeah, that's the upside to Stripe. They offer pretty much all of the payment methods.
yeah. What's very funny, and you might want to fix that, is PayPal was an option. People just be buying shit with PayPal, and Ryan gets no dollars.
It's just like all getting frozen. Boom. Yeah.
That address is my what is it, like my temporary address that works good. It's actually Pop's address.
Okay. You want me to read that out loud on air, right?
Or if you want to know what it is, go to the link in the description of all my videos that says Pop's Attic. Buy something, and when it arrives, you too may have the address. It'll be listed on the packages. But I know you have my address, but I didn't want there being a different address. You'd be like, "Is this right?" Did Mark mess something up? I'm prone to do typos.
Me too.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna drop off.
Yeah, we're out of here. What are you doing tomorrow? I didn't even ask you.
Me? What am I doing tomorrow? Get up, take a shower, go to work. Got a couple of meetings. Got to get to the post office. So I have to leave the city to get back to Brooklyn before the post office closes. Yeah, that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Any content?
Oh, YouTube stuff. Oh man, totally slipped my mind. I think we have the same video dropping tomorrow. MegaCon exclusives.
Do you have that video dropping tomorrow?
Yeah, dogs. Yo, you and I are on the same page.
Twinsies, mofo.
You can believe me. MegaCon dropping tomorrow, and then on Tuesday, possibly an Old Man Collectibles mystery box if I'm able to get to the post office tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday New Comic Book Day, Friday in the mix. I don't have any guests or anything planned right now, but Friday in the mix, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Actually, it would be you'd send it to Legion of Comics care of the ABX, but
Love Rob. All right, guys.
I can't help myself sometimes.
Yeah, congratulations to the Comic Book Poser for being the luckiest bastard on YouTube this week with all these giveaways wins. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.